Here's a poem called For C. It's dedicated to my wife. It's about lovers who part and lovers who do not part. And in the early part of the poem, lovers are parting. And then we get around to my wife and me who didn't. But I hope that the poem seems sympathetic toward all of the lovers. For C. After the clash of elevator gates and the long sinking, she emerges where, a slight thing in the morning's crosstown glare, she looks up toward the window where he waits. Then, in a fleeting taxi, joins the rest of the huge traffic bound forever west. On such grand scale do lovers say goodbye. Even this other pair, whose high romance had only the duration of a dance, and who, now taking leave with stricken eye, see each in each a whole new life foregone. For them, above the darkling clubhouse lawn, bright Perseids flash and crumble. While for these who part now on the dock, weighed down by grief and baggage, yet with something like relief, it takes 3,000 miles of knitting seas to cancel out their crossing and unmake the amorous rough and tumble of their wake. We are denied, my love, their fine tristesse and bittersweet regrets, and cannot share the frequent vistas of their large despair, where love and all are swept to nothingness. Still, there's a certain scope in that long love which constant spirits are the keepers of, and which, though taken to be tame and staid, is a wild sostenuto of the heart, a passion joined to courtesy and art, which has the quality of something made, like a good fiddle, like the roses scent, like a rose window or the firmament. I think having ended that love poem on that huge word, firmament, I ought to read something more modest that's based on marital experience. Here's a little poem called The Catch. You know how it is when people have caught a big fish, of which they're proud. They like to hold it up like this and have on the dock, you know, and have a photograph taken. That's where the title comes from. The poem is sort of a Blondie and Dagwood thing, really. It's about how it is when one's wife comes home from a triumphal shopping excursion and opens a box and holds up a dress to be admired, like that, as if it were a fish. From the dress box's plashing tissue paper, she pulls out her prize, dangling it to one side before my eyes like a weird sort of fish that she has somehow hooked and gaffed and on the dock end holds in air. Limp, corrugated, lank, a catch too rare not to be photographed. I, in my chair, make shift to say some bright, discerning thing and fail, proving once more the blindness of the male. Annoyed, she stalks away and then is back in half a minute, consulting now not me at all, but the long mirror on the wall. The dress, now that she's in it, has changed appreciably and gains by lacy shoes, a light perfume whose subtle field electrifies the room, and two slim golden chains. With a fierce frown and hard-pursed lips, she twists a little on her stem to test the even swirling of the hem, smooths down the waist and hips, plucks at the shoulder straps a bit, then turns around and looks behind, her face transfigured now by peace of mind. There is no question. It is wholly charming. It is she, as I belatedly remark, and may be hung now in the fragrant dark of her soft armory. Now, having read a poem about my wife, in fact two, I think I'm going to read one about my daughter, who is a very good and established short story writer now, but this looks back at her as she was in her junior high school days, when she would come home to our old ark of a house in Portland, Connecticut, and climb up to her room, sit at her desk, and set about writing stories. The writer. In her room at the prow of the house, where light breaks and the windows are tossed with linden, my daughter is writing a story. I pause in the stairwell, hearing from her shut door a commotion of typewriter keys like a chain hauled over a gunwale. Young as she is, the stuff of her life is a great cargo, and some of it heavy. I wish her a lucky passage. But now it is she who pauses, as if to reject my thought and its easy figure. A stillness greatens, in which the whole house seems to be thinking, and then she is at it again with a bunched clamor of strokes, and again is silent. I remember the dazed starling, which was trapped in that very room 2 years ago, how we stole in, lifted a sash, and retreated, not to affright it, and how for a helpless hour, through the crack of the door, we watched the sleek, wild, dark, and iridescent creature batter against the brilliance, drop like a glove to the hard floor or the desktop, and wait then, humped and bloody, for the wits to try it again. And how our spirits rose when, suddenly sure, it lifted off from a chair back, beating a smooth course for the right window and clearing the sill of the world. It is always a matter, my darling, of life or death, as I had forgotten. I wish what I wished you before, but harder. Thank you.